What if I told you one small paperwork mistake could send you back to where you were in a process months ago, or even get your visa permit denied? Or that using the wrong healthcare insurance can cost you a lot of money at the end of the tax declaration? In this video, I'll show you the top 5 mistakes that nearly every expat makes when moving to Germany. Some of them including myself, some others I know from people that I met over there, and how can you avoid them from day one. So stick with me, especially if you're planning to move or just landed to Germany. If you're new here, just remember to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you get videos and insider tips for daily life of expat and people living abroad in this channel of Expat Experts, on top of the episodes of Expat Experts podcast that I host. So let's start with the first mistake that I want to talk about, and that's delaying or choosing a wrong health insurance. Why is this important? In Germany, health insurance are mandatory, like in a lot of other European countries, but they are mandatory from day one. You cannot just say, I will get it later. No. When you arrive and in the first days of arriving to Germany, you should get your insurance ready. That's a little bit different for European citizens, because at the end, our European card covers you for emergency. But in any case, by law, theoretically, even the European citizens and expats who are arriving to Germany should contract an insurance as soon as possible. Many expats choose the wrong plan, and that's kind of a common mistake, because there is these two kind of systems, the public and the private, and you need to understand what is the correct choice for you, because some situations might lead you to take a public insurance, while in other cases you would go with the private one. And the wrong insurance can lead to limited treatment, higher costs, and even at the end can have an affection on your visa or permit compliance. Another common thing is that you end paying much more taxes, because the insurance that you choose, it's not really adequate for the income that you are having. I know, for example, an expat who assumed that the best way to proceed was going with a public insurance, because it's what majority of their friends were doing at that moment. And only later he realized that because he had a higher income than the people that he talked with, private insurance was much better on the long term, especially tax wise, and it was offering much more for the price value for what he was paying, let's say like this. And I remember this case because it was a nightmare. Although he achieved to change, it was kind of a long process to switch from the public to a private insurance. So now the important part, how to avoid that. Research properly public, the JKV versus private, PKV, and decide properly what it means for your specific salary range, for your salary, for the family situation that you are, and for the class of tax that you are. So compare on an economical level, in a tax level, if a private insurance makes sense for you or not. And especially if you're a family with multiple kids, check that, because sometimes, especially for higher salaries and for numerous member families, the private sometimes makes more sense than the public one. Now, also compare the plans. Benefits, especially from the insurance provider, and that's another topic in here. Germany doesn't have a centralized provider of insurance for public healthcare, so even if you go from the public route, you need to check what is the specific insurance that you are taking offering you. So check the different offers that you are getting from the different providers, and check what they are offering you at the end, and what it's covered and what it's not covered. But it because it can differ depending on the on the provider of the insurance that you're choosing. Also, it's interesting, and that's a personal recommendation, as I did it like that. If you already have a job contract when you do it, sometimes there is insurances that are linked to sectors, or because they have insurance companies that are also linked to that union, for example, of workers. I know that, for example, there is the minery, which is a very clear example. They have their own unions, and certain work sectors can provide you directly insurances that are more specialized for that kind of job. Make sure that you also bring, and that's the last thing that I want to talk about, the health insurances. When you ask for the uh, health insurance, ask for a proof of coverage, because that will be required for certain processes, like the registration of your address or applying for certain permits. All right, mistake number 2, and I entered already into it in the previous one: underestimating registration, bureaucracy, and permit rules in Germany. Uh, Bureaucracy in Germany, it's famous for being strict and not the fastest in the world, and not the most digitalized in the world, for sure. Missing deadlines or paperwork that are missing when you are presenting yourself into the office can delay permits, can block you access for certain services, or even cost fines in sometimes. So make sure that you have everything that you need when you go to the registration office or to any other process that you need to pass, and that you have everything, and be punctual. Many newcomers also forget that you need to do, by law, the Anmeldung, which is the registration of your residence. And you need to do it within a proper time frame. So from the moment that you rent an apartment or buy an apartment, you need to register that in a certain amount of months or weeks. And last also part, why is this important? It's because I know, not for myself, because I never needed visa or permit, but because of friends and people I know, that applications for visa and permits are full of traps, like incomplete forms, missing documents, late renewals, very long period times for getting an appointment. It might and it will get, it is difficult, and it will sometimes get generate stress to you. So be prepared, especially if you are in a situation of requiring visa permits applications. Um, from my own experience, I didn't know that I needed the Anmeldung. Nobody told me that. So I ended paying a fee because of doing it late. So it happens. So if you do the delayed registration, you pay a fee. And this is how it is. And I know it by firsthand. So yeah, first things, or how to avoid that. No, what to do. Before arriving, list all the bureaucratic steps that you need to do: Anmeldung, visa permit, tax registration, health insurance, etc., etc. If you want to know more about this, I have a video about the specific steps that you need to take in paperwork when arriving to Germany. You can check it out here. It's also in the description of this video. So go and check it out if you are already in that process. Second point, as I said, as soon as you move to an apartment, go to the Rathaus or the Bürgeramt, which is the city offices, and register your new address, or the first address that you're having in Germany, doing the Anmeldung, the registration of residence. Now, one important part here also: keep digital and physical backups of all your documents, because they will ask for them multiple times. So even in the same office. So a lot of things, a lot of processes are not properly digitalized. So what paper they are taking, they are putting in the archive from your file, and it's there. It's not that they are digitalizing that and it will serve you for the rest of your applications. So have copies of everything. And then the last point: set reminders well in advance for renewals and visa permits. Skipping a renewal can lead to a bureaucratic nightmare. but the process of renewal are not simple either. So planning ahead, put reminders that you need to renew visa or permits months in advance of your expiring date, so you can plan ahead and ask already for example, for appointments for it, or for the missing documentation that you might have to provide, and start preparing well in advance, because they are long and they are difficult processes. Now, mistake number 3: not learning German at all or delaying your integration. Uh, many people assume, many experts assume that English is enough to be in Germany. And it's true for certain big cities, but as soon as you get out of these big cities, or even in everyday life in the big cities, shops, locals, I don't know, official settings, bureaucracies, processes that we just talked about, Germany is very helpful. On top of that, if you move to a new country, learning the language is a matter of respect for that country. So try to integrate with that point. Without the language, you delay your integration also. So you might also feel that you remain socially isolated and even miss better opportunities of job, for example, or making new friends. And you end a lot of expats tend to end closing themselves in these expat community bubbles that are not the reality of the country that you are living. So Germany, it's definitely in Germany, it's definitely opening new doors to no other realities than the one that you are living in it. Talking about this, I know, for example, people who stayed in this bubble, or they are still in this bubble, people who only have friends who speak English and never connected with the locals, and they still have zero local network because they don't speak any word of German. And for me, that's a little bit sad. It's also a personal opinion, but I think you should be doing the effort if you are moving to a new country to learn the language of that country. How to deal with that? I mean, at the end, there is resources everywhere. Everyone knows about Duolingo, Babel, all these platforms that are out there. So maybe if you know that you're going to move to Germany, start learning beforehand, even if it's just the basics. Welcome, hi, a good morning already opens doors to improve, and you will need that at some point for sure. My recommendation is going full in languages courses as fast as you can when you arrive to a country, if you can, of course, afford that. If you cannot afford that, one very good solution is going and doing a tandem. Tandem is an exchange of language. So there is even an application called Tandem in itself that connects people who are trying to learn languages. So, for example, I'm from Barcelona, and someone in Frankfurt wants to learn Spanish, and I am learning German, and we do the tandem for learning each other's languages. And it's a great opportunity to also meet people and meet locals. Once you have a little bit of level, start using it, like shops, talking with neighborhoods, go to local groups, start listening music in that languages, and start using it in your daily life. Last but not least, one of the most powerful tools and tips that I used for myself is joining groups, whatever, like sports, volunteering, and pushing myself to mix with locals. And it's, for me, the one that it worked the best. It's the way that my languages skills has always improved, because I am forced to try to understand conversations in a group that's speaking the language. It's difficult sometimes, of course, because you might feel a little bit outside, but with the time, you will arrive there, and you will not only have better language skills and capacity of talking and listening, but also maybe you have local friends who can help you in a lot of situations. If you're interested in this topic and knowing a little bit more how to make friends abroad, I also have a video about this, and you can check it out. And it also will be available in the description of the video. Now, mistake number 4, critical one: financial and contract mishaps. Many people don't read contracts properly and carefully, Don't check the subscription cancellation, notice period, hidden fees when you receive a contract. Some people even assume that you just stop paying and that cancels the contract, and it's not like that. You still owe money. I've been there. I know this by firsthand, and I will explain you now. Uh, the other thing that it's also a lot of people are doing is underestimating the cost of living, hitting utilities, deposits, and unexpected fines for doing things that you shouldn't be doing. So count with all of that and having consideration, research, do proper research on what it would be the cost of living in the place that you are going, and have also a consideration of checking utility providers, for example, in advance, and knowing that around 2 months of deposit or 1 month of deposit, you will need to put it for the rent. These kind of things are important. Mm, Personally, what had happened to me, I had a very bad experience with a landlord in Frankfurt. It was in part my fault also. Another part was his behavior, but I didn't read the very small letter in a contract that it was only written in German. And I ended paying months for a flat where I was not living. Uh, Besides that, we ended in court and winning against this landlord because he was trying to take money from our deposit without the proper reasons for doing it. That's another story. It has nothing to do, but be careful with the contracts and read everything in detail. Part of avoiding this is if you don't speak the language, ask for a translated version. By law, in Germany, if you are not a German speaker, and in general in Europe, if you are not obliged to sign a contract in a language that you are not understanding. This was my mistake, and that's one of the first recommendations that I will tell you. Don't sign contracts in languages that you fully or you not fully understand what you are signing. So ask for an official translation for that contract, or do it yourself. For also ask for people to review it if you already have contacts with anyone who is local, and check it out. Of course, that it's very easy to say. When you are in a rush of finding an apartment, you are for not having the time to do all of that. But from my own experience, take the time to really check cancellation periods and all the conditions that are inside of renting contracts, but also utility contracts, phone, etc., etc. Maintain a buffer in your budget because there is always extra costs that might come. Heating in winter might get higher depending on the year. You might get a fee because I don't know, delayed registration, as I already told you. So, yeah, check that out. So check that you also have some extra money at the end of the month. Last thing here, and it's something that I also experienced myself, monitor your utility usage. So check the counters of the gas, of the electricity, because some utility providers charge you on estimates and not on real consumption. So if you want to avoid that they charge you on estimates that maybe you are not consuming, it is a good thing to do to check from time to time the real consumption that you are having in your apartment. Now, the last mistake number 5, it's the cultural and everyday norms, etiquettes, missteps that you don't know when you arrive to a country, and specifically for Germany. Germany has strong social norms, rules, for example, around noise or recycling or punctuality, and for example, how you speak, formal versus informal. Not knowing how to treat that can annoy locals and cause friction. Like I don't know, but even like they are, from my experience, they also like to point when you are not doing things in the correct way. So there's quirks, simple things as like escalator etiquette, standing on the right, walking on the left side, or you walking on a bike lane, it's not where you should be walking on. They will point you these things out. It's nothing against you specifically. It's that the norms in Germany are past and they follow them, let's say like this. I for example have a couple of friends who went having fines because of not recycling properly, and it was the neighbors who were telling to the office city offices that they were not recycling properly. Now, how to avoid that? Observe local norms, learn from the locals. That's basic. Be punctual. Germans value punctuality. Learn how to use the formal and the informal when you are supposed to be talking with the C form, and when with the do, and when they're inviting you to already talk to them in a more and polite way, let's say like this. Uh, Respect quiet hours, especially during midday, night, and definitely Sundays. And follow waste separation. There is recycling rules, very strict ones. So learn that ones also. Even like, for example, something that it surprised me that I didn't know. It's the different types of glasses that green glass versus brown glass versus the transparent one. These exist. You need to recycle. Dividing between the different types of glasses, which is something that in a lot of other countries you don't do. Ask the locals and ask in expat forums also about how to do things, because in Germany, especially from my own experience, I can say that there is quite a lot and they are pretty, everyone is following them, let's say like this. But before closing, I know I shared already 5 of them, but I want just to quickly mention 2 extra pitfalls, let's tell it like this. Um, from own experience and from knowing things. First thing would be forgetting to ventilate houses in winter. That can lead to mold due to the heating working at the same time, and the highly well isolated windows that prevents the heat from going out. Why I'm saying this, and since I know it sounds a little bit weird that I'm saying, okay, open your window from time to time on winter, which Germans love doing, by the way. It might be that by contract you are obliged to do that. And if it generates mold inside of the house or humidity is due to the fact that you are not ventilating the house, it might end being your fault and not covered by the owner of the flat. So you might be ending paying for that. Second one, it is the fact that there is a radio and TV fee, the Rundfunkbeitrag. It is mandatory for everyone. You need to pay the radio and TV fee. It's something that we are not used to in, for example, in Spain and Italy and other places. If there is a tax for that, it's included in your tax declaration. In Germany, no, that is a separate tax that you need to be paying separately, and you need to be exactly, providing and paying it. Forgetting it can lead to fees and you paying extra money than just the fee. So there you have it. Top 5 mistakes that expats and foreigners commonly make in Germany when arriving, and how to try to avoid them, plus this couple of extra ones. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe and hit the notification bell, and share it with anyone that you know that they might be moving to Germany soon. And before you go, type into the comments which of these mistakes scared you the most. Insurances, bureaucracy, languages, or something else. I'll read and respond to as many comments as I can. Thank you for watching, and bis bald.